Gracias. It's a great honor to be with you again, my cousins from the Americas. As I was flying here, I learned that Donald Trump said he was going to inflict intense economic pain on our nation because we recognized Gaza as a state. What he's saying is that we do not have a right to an independent foreign policy. That's the message. The message he gives to Brazil, that you do not have the right to an independent judicial system. This is the age of gangster fascism. And so if we're going to talk about the sustainability of our planet and the sustainability of our economies, we have to talk about it within the issue of the sustainability of democracy. And, Canadians, we're polite people until we're not. And one time, the issue that makes us very not polite is fascists. We fought fascists in the streets of Toronto with baseball bats in 1933. We fought them in the hills of Spain, and we fought them in every battlefield across Europe. Long before America came to the war, Canadians were fighting fascists. So when you tell us that we don't have a right to a nation, when you kidnap our people off the streets and put them in concentration camps, as they're doing to your people, then we know what we're confronting. We're confronting gangster fascism. And I want to place the context of Canada right now because we are in this fragile but powerful moment. I read the polling from last night in Canada. Canadians now are overwhelmingly demanding our Prime Minister support Palestine. There's 95% of the Canadian people want immediate counter tariffs against the United States, and they're willing to sustain economic losses domestically to defend our sovereignty. So it's the determination of ordinary people that's an extraordinary moment. I've never seen anything like this. The willingness of people to come together who were divided and fighting before. But in this moment, we also know that there are powerful forces who would use this period of crisis for their opportunity. And so this is why I'm coming to you, my brothers and sisters in this global south, because we have to be together in the face of the threat. My work in Parliament in the last number of years, I come from mining country. My family were miners. I got to say, I love mining culture. I'm sorry. My town is full of holes. No street lights. But my town built the glass towers of Toronto. And my town built the companies that are in your communities. And we got nothing left but a little museum to show for it. But in my period in Ottawa, I felt the need to go and work with the energy workers in Alberta because Canada is a petro-state. We are a defiant petro-state, but we often put a nice face on it. And they've politicized energy in a way that has divided the nation. And so I went out to meet with the energy workers, and I expected that I would get a rough ride. And I didn't get a rough ride because they understood the future as much as everyone else. They understood that the planet's burning. They're no fools. Working class people aren't stupid. But they hated that word just transition. And I hate that word just transition too, because coming from a mining town, I never saw just transition. What I saw were people being left high and dry as the companies left town. And so in my first meeting with the energy workers, I said, a just transition from where I'm from, that's when your neighbor has to leave in the middle of the night because they're too embarrassed to say goodbye. That's a just transition that we know. So we need to talk about a jobs transition and a commitment to jobs. And we worked very, very hard to build a plan to build sustainable energy. And the workers and the support we got was incredible. And then the ideological MAGA governments provincially in the West shut that down. They shut down $33 billion in opportunities, potential for 170,000 jobs, because they'd rather burn the planet than offer a way forward. That's what we're dealing with. You talk about disinformation. You know, our right-wing media are thrilled that we're getting rid of our EV mandates for vehicles, even though it would have given such a benefit to our auto sector. The disinformation telling us that they are actually going to break our nation up. That as Donald Trump threatens our country and we see unprecedented unity, we have leaders in the oil and gas sector and their premiers in the West saying they would break our country up unless we do not give more to the oil industry. We gave them $34 billion in a public pipeline. We pay 50 cents on the dollar for every bit of raw bitumen, raw toxic bitumen that goes to feed the United States. And they say, unless we build more pipelines, they're going to break our country up. So that's the threat we're under. And so I want to bring to you where I see the potential for change, because our Prime Minister is being told we need nation-building projects. We need to break ourselves free of Donald Trump, and we have to become economically independent, which we must. Nation-building projects are about our regions. It's about sustainability. We have had the worst climate fires in the last 3 years. We used to have summer. We don't have summer anymore. We have fire season. We have thousands and thousands of people being evacuated. And our neighbors to the south, the Republicans are sending letters telling us to keep the smoke down as they're bringing in legislation to attack anything to do with clean energy. So we are in this moment, the planet is on fire, and they would rather burn our planet to the ground because that's what gangster fascists do. So I'm going to step outside the box just a bit and give you a sense of what we are doing. Ordinary Canadians have launched a boycott of every single thing American. It wasn't organized, it wasn't planned, it doesn't come from our leadership, it comes from ordinary men and women who won't go into a grocery store and buy a single product from the United States. The shelves are empty. And where there are American products, they're turned upside down so you can tell and not buy them. Within 3 months, we started to see produce from Mexico and Peru. So I am here to say we need to build this alliance together where we start to trade and build with each other. We got lots of snow in the winter. It's hard for us to get green foods. But we will buy your foods because no Canadian will buy American. We stopped travel immediately. We are going to cost the United States economy $29 billion this year from people saying, I will not go back to the United States, I will not visit, I will not cross the border. The boycott is a powerful tool to take the fascists on. If everyone was involved in the boycott around the world, CNBC predicts a $90 billion hit to the U.S. economy. They are only going to stop the threats to the rule of law if it hurts. And we have to make it hurt. So I come to you to say that we have this moment of opportunity of our nations to work together because your nations are under threat. Your planet is under threat. Our way of life is under threat. And we cannot build the sustainable, progressive future that we are all working towards if we are under the threat of this kind of totalitarian, authoritarian gangsterism. So our first job in Canada right now is to stop that, but it's also to make sure that they don't exploit this crisis to further the agenda of the planet burners, because sustainability is what we have to fight for, because sustainability is rooted in democracy and it's rooted in the future of all of us together. So I look towards my colleagues here to help us and for us to help you build this democratic, sustainable future. Thank you.
Wow.